Because heavy fighting is being reported between Tigray Defense Forces and Eritrean forces on one front along Tigray Eritrea border. This is the heaviest fighting since the fall of Mekele. On which front is this fighting happening, and who is suffering losses? Who started this fighting? After the fall of Mekele, Tigray Defense Forces took control of almost all towns and cities along B30 highway. Eritrean forces withdrew from these towns. They withdrew from Adegrat, Aksom, Shire, Adwa, and Tigray Defense Forces entered these towns. We saw almost no fighting when Eritrean forces retreated from Tigray's towns. But several key places on Tigray Eritrea border are still being controlled by Eritrean forces. Fighting erupted to the north of Rama town. Have a look at this map. On this map, you can see Rama town. The town is situated to the north of Adwa views. This town was taken by Tigray Defense Forces 2 days ago. TDF entered this town without any fighting. No resistance from Eritrean forces. Eritrean forces had withdrawn when Tigray Defense Forces entered this town. Then, according to Eritrean news sources, Tigray Defense Forces tried to move from Rama town towards Tigray Eritrea border, and they tried to enter Eritrea according to Eritrean news sources. But Tigray backed news sources say that it was Eritrean troops which tried to enter and move towards Rama. That is why fighting erupted. Eritrean news sources say that TDF's attempt to enter Eritrea has failed, and TDF suffered heavy casualties. But Tigray Defense Forces say that it's Eritrean side which has suffered heavy casualties. So conflicting reports, but both the sides are confirming that heavy fighting did take place to the north of Rama town. Viewers, areas to the north of Rama are not disputed between Tigray and Eritrea. You know that several areas on Tigray-Eritrea border have been disputed between Tigray and Eritrea for decades. Areas like Irob, Badme, then Asab base, Asab, and other areas. Several areas are disputed, and we have seen wars over these areas in the past 3 decades. But the areas to the north of Rama are not disputed. Then, what was the objective of TDF advance towards Eritrean border? Well, firstly, viewers, Tigray Defense Forces do not want to accept the status quo. The status quo means that Eritreans are in control of Badme, they are in control of Irob and other disputed areas. So Tigray Defense Forces will continue small scale attacks on Eritrean forces in these border areas. Secondly, yesterday Reuters confirmed that Eritrean forces were deployed in Humera town. Reuters shared some pictures of Eritrean soldiers and soldiers of Amhara regional forces jointly patrolling some areas linking Hajar on Eritrea side with Humera on Ethiopian side. So when there is heavy presence of Eritrean forces in Humera, it means that Tigray Defense Forces will keep on hitting Eritrean forces in border areas. Not in Humera or Hajar, though attacks might happen there as well. But Eritrean forces will be hit in other areas as well along Tigray-Eritrea border. It does not mean, again I am saying, that Tigray Defense Forces have launched a full-scale offensive on Eritrea. In a separate video, I give you my detailed analysis that in present situation, TDF will not invade Eritrea. But fighting on Tigray Eritrea border to the north of Rama has been confirmed. Secondly, viewers, another important update is about Sudanese statement about Tigray. Everyone was waiting for Sudan's statement because Sudan's role is now very significant as Tigray Defense Forces are threatening to advance towards Western Tigray, towards Humera, and regional forces of Amhara, Ethiopian National Defense Forces, Eritrean forces, they're in control of Humera. They are saying that they would not let Tigray Defense Forces cross Tekeze River towards Humera. So in this scenario, Sudan's role is important. Will Sudan back Tigray Defense Forces? Sudanese Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok yesterday issued a statement. And he said, Sudan has been following UN Security Council's meeting on Tigray, and Sudan agrees with the position of an African member of the UN Security Council. Kenya, viewers. Kenya is African member, and Abdullah Hamdok further said he talked about three main points. He said that firstly, there must be consolidation of ceasefire in Tigray. Secondly, ensuring of delivery of humanitarian assistance to Tigray. Thirdly, he called for comprehensive national dialogue. Lastly, he said that Sudan was ready to support its sisterly Ethiopian neighbor. Kenya, to a large extent, backed Ethiopian government's position in UN Security Council's meeting. In yesterday's video, I informed you that Kenyan position was a way of backing. Kenyan position was like that of Russian and Chinese positions, and these four countries, Russia, China, Kenya, India, they backed Ethiopian government. They said it was internal matter of Ethiopia. There must be consolidation of ceasefire. Only US said in that meeting that there is a difference between ceasefire and siege. Ethiopian government should not lay siege to Tigray. So now Sudan is agreeing with African member of the UN Security Council, Kenya. It means, viewers, that Sudan does not want to actively participate in this war. At least officially, Sudan will not back Tigray People Liberation Front. Tigray People Liberation Front, TPLF, needs Sudanese support now if TDF want to recapture Humera. Sudan's role is important, but it seems that Sudan does not want to be a party because Sudan has taken control of disputed areas in Al-Fashaga, which was the disputed territory between Sudan and Ethiopia for decades. Sudan is satisfied with what it has gained. It does not want to involve into this Tigray war. It seems so far, because official statement shows that Sudan wants to be neutral. Lastly, viewers, Colonel Gabre of Tigray Defense Forces yesterday appeared in Mekelle. He received a very warm welcome in Mekelle. Colonel Gabre and Geta Choreda kept their support base informed about fighting in Tigray. Over the past 8 months, Colonel Gabre and Geta Choreda, they managed to stay in touch with local and international media. It was a difficult task because you need to ensure that your location is not revealed when you are communicating. Have a look at the warm welcome received by Colonel Gabre in Mekelle yesterday, viewers. Thank you for watching.